On a quiet country road, Thomas slowed his truck when something small caught his eye. A shivering puppy sitting alone on the gravel. No houses nearby, no owner in sight. He stopped, thinking it was just another stray. But what unfolded the very next day would defy every expectation. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The late morning sun washed the quiet countryside in soft gold. Birds darted across the sky while the hum of Thomas's pickup truck echoed along the empty road. It was an ordinary drive home from the feed store, until something pale caught his eye near the edge of the gravel. He slowed, heart tightening. There, huddled beside the ditch, sat a tiny cream-colored puppy. Its fur was dusty and tangled, ears drooping like wilted leaves. No collar, no leash, no farmhouse or yard nearby. Just endless fields and the soft whistle of the breeze. Thomas pulled over and stepped out carefully. The puppy looked up, eyes wide and uncertain, but didn't run. Instead, it let out a faint whimper that carried more than fear. It carried a plea. He scanned the road in both directions. Empty. Someone had left this little one behind. Kneeling on the warm gravel, Thomas knew he couldn't drive away. Thomas crouched low, speaking softly so the puppy wouldn't startle. "Hey there, little one," he murmured, extending a steady hand. The pup sniffed the air, trembling but curious. A weak tail wag flickered like a question. From his truck, Thomas grabbed a bottle of water and an old sandwich wrapped in paper. He poured a small puddle into his palm and set the food nearby. The puppy crept forward, hunger overpowering fear, and lapped at the water with quiet urgency. When Thomas gently stroked its head, the puppy leaned into the touch as if it had waited for kindness all along. He lifted the light bundle into his arms, feeling its tiny heartbeat flutter against his chest. Back in the truck, the pup curled on the seat, eyes half closed. Thomas glanced at the empty road behind them. "You're safe now," he whispered, turning toward home, unaware that tomorrow would bring something far greater than a simple rescue. Afternoon light filled Thomas's farmhouse kitchen as he carried the puppy inside. The smell of warm bread and wood polish wrapped the room in quiet comfort. Setting the little traveler on a soft towel, he fetched a small bowl of warm milk and a leftover piece of roasted chicken. The puppy sniffed cautiously, then began to eat with tiny, eager bites. Thomas smiled, a gentle warmth spreading in his chest. Afterward, he filled a shallow tub with lukewarm water and carefully washed away the dust. At first, the puppy squirmed, but his calm voice and slow hands turned panic into sleepy trust. Wrapped in an old flannel shirt, the pup dozed as Thomas prepared a cozy spot beside the fireplace, an old basket lined with blankets. When night settled over the fields, the puppy let out one soft sigh and curled into a ball. For the first time in who knew how long, it slept safe and loved. Soft sunlight spilled through the kitchen window as Thomas brewed his morning coffee. The farmhouse was quiet except for the gentle ticking of the clock and the faint crackle of cooling embers in the fireplace. But something else stirred, a sharp, insistent scratching near the back door. He turned to see the puppy wide awake, tail stiff, ears perked high. It barked once, then again, pacing in quick circles. This wasn't the timid creature from last night. Something beyond the door held its full attention. "Easy there, buddy," Thomas said, opening the door to let in the crisp country air. Instead of exploring lazily, the puppy dashed outside and barked toward the tree line at the edge of the field. Each call was urgent, almost pleading. Thomas stepped onto the porch, frowning. The morning was peaceful, yet the puppy's restless focus hinted at something hidden. Whatever waited beyond the trees clearly couldn't wait. Thomas slipped on his boots and grabbed a light jacket, heart quickening with curiosity. The puppy barked again, then darted toward the distant trees, pausing to be sure he followed. "All right, show me," Thomas called, stepping off the porch. Dew sparkled on the grass as they crossed the open field. The little dog moved with surprising purpose, weaving through tall weeds and hopping over fallen branches. Every few yards it glanced back, eyes bright and insistent. Thomas lengthened his stride, careful not to lose sight. They reached a narrow trail that disappeared into a grove of oaks. The morning air grew cooler, filled with the earthy scent of damp leaves. Suddenly the puppy stopped, ears pinned forward, and whined sharply. Thomas scanned the underbrush. At first he saw nothing, just shifting shadows, until a faint, muffled sound reached him. It wasn't the wind. Someone or something was waiting deeper in those trees. Thomas pushed aside a curtain of wet branches, following the faint sound that grew clearer with every step. The puppy darted ahead, tail stiff with urgency, and stopped beside a fallen log tangled in vines. From beneath the damp wood came a soft, desperate whimper. Kneeling, Thomas gently pulled back the vines and peered inside. His breath caught. Two tiny puppies, even smaller than the one he'd rescued, huddled together in the darkness. Their fur was damp and cold, eyes barely open. They trembled with exhaustion and hunger. "Good boy," Thomas whispered, awed by his little companion's instinct. Without hesitation, he removed his jacket, wrapped the fragile pups inside, and held them close to his chest for warmth. The puppy that had led him here wagged its tail, letting out a relieved bark. Somehow it had known its littermates were in danger, and refused to rest until they were found. Cradling the tiny bundle of rescued pups, Thomas hurried back through the field with the first puppy trotting proudly at his side. By the time they reached the farmhouse, a neighbor who had seen him leave early stopped at the gate, curious. "What's all this?" she asked, eyes widening when she spotted the fragile puppies wrapped in Thomas's jacket. Without hesitation, she called the local animal clinic. Within minutes, a small group of neighbors gathered, offering blankets, warm bottles, and quiet encouragement. The veterinarian arrived quickly, checking the newborns' weak pulses and giving them warm formula. "You found them just in time," she said, amazed. Another few hours, and they might not have survived. Everyone marveled at the first puppy's determination. Children reached out to pet its soft head as Thomas recounted the morning's discovery. What began as a solitary roadside rescue was now a shared triumph of instinct, compassion, and community care. By late afternoon, the tiny puppies rested safely at the clinic, their breathing steady at last. Thomas returned home with the brave little guide trotting happily beside him, tail wagging in quiet victory. The farmhouse glowed in the warm sunset, every window catching a golden spark. Inside, Thomas filled a fresh bowl of food and set it down. The puppy ate contentedly, then curled at his feet as if it had always belonged there. He stroked its soft fur, gratitude swelling in his chest. "You saved your family today," he whispered. News of the rescue spread quickly. Neighbors dropped by with congratulations, children eager to meet the hero dog. What began as a simple roadside stop had saved 3 lives and sparked a bond no one expected. If this true-to-life rescue story warmed your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more uplifting tales of courage, love, and second chances.